I don't see a lot of hands raised, so.
No.
Okay, if there's no one for participation, is my audio coming through?
It is, but I can't seem to get it louder, and I don't know why. Check. Get the computer.
Am I on the computer?
Have we got this on speaker?
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Wow.
Okay, well, the first item on our agenda is the sewer construction update by GHB.
I think I heard GHD.
Yes.
Did we approve the minutes?
Yeah, for some reason.
Meredith?
Meredith, I think we
Yes.
probably should approve the minutes of the meeting,
Oh,
no?
I'm so sorry. That's very true. I'm sorry. Yes, we should. So is there any discussion or approval of the February 8th meeting minutes?
Meredith, I move that we approve the minutes as printed,
A second.
and you have a second?
Thank you. Thank you. Having been approved and seconded, we accept the minutes. Is all in favor?
Aye.
All
Yeah.
right, so we're now ready for the first item on the agenda, which would be the sewer construction update by GHB.
Okay, yep, this is working. I don't have a formal presentation today. I presented one 2 weeks ago. But I would like to report on a couple of, on the construction end, everything is going fine, survived the snow just fine. Slows any exterior work, but at the plant itself, they're inside. So no hiccups is good news. I can report that we're about to put the alternate rebid project on the street. So that's moving along as planned. And I can also report that the Phase 2 design is progressing well. We kicked it off with the town formally last week. And the town will soon be seeing some activity going on in relation to the Phase 2 design.
Like what?
And is there any questions?
What, survey?
I
What?
have a question for you, Sandy. And the question is, when you talk about the alternates hitting the street, those are the alternates in the very first design for the 439 houses, am I correct?
It was part of the Phase 1 design that was not awarded. So it includes one
Yes.
pump station at Brewster Road in that area, and then I think 6 independent roads, collection systems along 6 independent roads.
Excellent. Yeah, that was the clarification that we needed. And then the design is for the design of the next phase of the 1,288 houses that were considered as option 9. Am I correct?
That's correct. As well as improvements to the plant.
Okay, so then we're on target. And do you know if, when we come to the joint meeting for March 6th between the Sewer Commission and the Select Board, is it too premature, or are we ready to start to discuss the next direction, given the 2 big water quality reports that we received?
I'm not sure I caught all of that. The warrant on the town, no, the meeting is to present updated costs for Phase 2. We are currently just bringing them as up to date as we can. Jared, is there anything else?
The basis of the meeting is to present the information to both boards. So that
Simultaneously.
way, we can get, hopefully, recommendations to move forward the project from both boards. So when the warrant articles go out, it'll hopefully say at the bottom, I keep saying hopefully, that both boards support this article and is written by both
Right.
boards.
So just to give you the most up-to-date information we can together.
Excellent. So that will prepare us for the May 6th meeting.
Correct.
Excellent, thank you.
Sandy, I have a question. You mentioned updates to the plant. Is this stuff that was already planned and you're just going forward with it, or has there been change of plans that?
Oh, no, we're going, yeah, this is planning. We need to, because we'll be sending more wastewater to the plant, we need to add some equipment. So we're adding another MBR unit, that's the heart of the plant. We're going to be adding some chemical treatment, another odor control, and 4 additional sand beds so that you can accept the treated effluent.
And because this is part of the anticipated Phase 2?
Yes.
This was not part of the original contract?
This is normal.
Okay.
Yep,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much,
Thank you.
Sandy. So the next discussion we've had this discussion several times about the vote of the sewer commission meeting day and time. And there's been quite a bit of work behind the scenes in trying to make the meeting time as scheduled for 5 o'clock. We are not going to be able to do any Tuesdays. That's not going to work for meeting space. So the suggestion and perhaps the motion should be to vote on having sewer commission meetings on Thursdays once a month at 5 o'clock. And that would be able to be held in the Walk-Point meeting room and still be televised. Is there a second to the motion, and then we'll have a discussion?
Okay, maybe. I didn't get that.
So she
She's
made a
basically-
motion to go to one meeting a month on a Thursday at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
Because of all the
No,
Tuesday,
it's Tuesday.
I mean, excuse me, Tuesday, say, we're doing
at 5
Thursday
o'clock.
now. Tuesdays at 5 o'clock, because the,
Yeah, but this schedule is a little different, so.
that schedule's not what we're gonna vote on. Karen will go back if this goes through and then lay out the dates for us, what works best.
Okay, so that doesn't work. Okay.
So,
I'm sorry, I misspoke. It's for the third Tuesday of every month. The third Tuesday, not the first and third, the third Tuesday of each month.
That sounds good.
I recommend that because, I mean, I've had 3 different boards or commissions that I've worked with in the past, and most of them only meet once a month unless there's a pressing event or something that comes up that's time sensitive, then they'll call another meeting. But for the most part, once a month. I think during the time of the initial hookups, we're probably gonna wanna meet more, just for a short period, just to make sure we get the approvals done and keep everything moving and not have anybody waiting around, because we're gonna need that flow. So, and then after that, we could probably go back to once a month, no problem at all.
I'm flexible. I think flexibility is important. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm sorry, there's a motion on the table for the third Tuesday. Can we have that seconded before we go into discussion?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Okay, further discussion then about changing the sewer commission meetings to the third Tuesday of the month.
That's good. I'll just have to have pizza.
Okay, hearing none, shall we take a vote then?
Aye.
Okay, I move that we move the sewer commission meetings to the third Tuesday of each month at 5 o'clock, and that we will be continuing this for 6 months approximately, and getting ideas and feedback about whether this will increase our public participation.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous.
Okay, could we have a roll call vote since I can't see people, please?
Phyllis Sprout, aye.
Catherine Castaneda, aye.
Al Toll, aye.
Any dissension or no votes?
No.
Any? okay,
Negative,
any
that,
abstentions?
That's everybody that's here.
Okay, thank you. The third item for consideration on the agenda is to review and discuss and vote on the 2023 annual report. You each got a copy of the annual report, which summarizes all the work that was done by the commission over the past year, and it was drawn primarily from the meeting notes and from the minutes. Is there any discussion about the annual report?
Now, Meredith, I read it. I think it's very well done. I move that we approve as submitted.
I second that.
Cheryl, we have a vote on it then, please.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous.
Thank you. This will now go to then the town manager's office for incorporation into the town annual report book. Thank you all. The next item is a clarification of the wastewater department and sewer commission warrants for the town meeting on May 6th. This is just a continuation or a clarification of what we discussed at our last meeting. There are two articles that are being submitted by both the wastewater commission, the wastewater department, and the sewer commission. One was a placeholder on the funds for construction of the next step in the sewer commission, that's Article 6. And the other is the wastewater and sewer commission, Article number 22, to institute an enterprise fund. So these articles now have numbers, even though the finance number is still a placeholder. Is there any discussion about these?
The enterprise fund, was that 3 or 32? I didn't quite,
It's number 22.
32,
22.
22,
No, 22, yeah.
22, okay. Well, the enterprise fund doesn't require funding, that's just putting a
It's
place.
just establishing
It's
it,
just establishing.
yeah, and for the following year.
Exactly.
And we want to make sure we're doing it before we put in the work.
Sounds like we ought to go along board, and approve both.
Yeah.
Okay, and again, just for your information, there are two other articles that may be of concern. One is Article 10, which is submitted only by the wastewater department, about a wastewater assistant superintendent. And the other article is Article 20, which is by the Board of Health, that commits it allows then for a funding, that allows funding to available for Mashpee residents for sewer updates through the Board of Health. So there are, as I said, 4 articles that have some involvement with the sewer commission, but we're only helping to submit one with the wastewater department, numbers 10 and number 22.
Okay.
Any discussion, or is there a motion?
I don't see any discussion. I'm really wondering what the motion is for.
Just to accept that just to accept that the articles are as they stand, that would support the articles as they stand.
Don't we want to hear them first?
Yeah, I frankly haven't seen the text, so.
So we're going to meet on these 2 articles at that joint meeting.
Right.
I think
Okay.
that's where we're looking for the biggest support. I think that's ultimately when you want to try to vote on it, because I mean, honestly, you're going to get, there might be something that the select board brings up that you might agree with that might be
Yeah.
opposite from here, and that'd be the time to change
So
it.
we'd have the opportunity to
To
vote
vote
on.
at that time is what they
Yes.
usually do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
ahead
will
of
we
time.
have the text beforehand?
Yes, I sent it to you last time, but I can resend it if you'd like. I can resend it all out.
Oh, that one.
Yep, those are
Okay.
the 2 articles. It was part of,
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
and actually, I can give you my copies, so I kind of know them.
I'm sorry.
No worries. There you go.
Thank you very much. Okay, but they haven't changed from when you presented.
Nope, once I've submitted them, I've left them, we're waiting on the attorney review. And then when I get that back, we'll have whatever comments, and then there might be adjustments from there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
It would have been
Okay,
convenient
so
to have them
hearing no
here.
further discussion, we'll just move forward.
Correct.
So table
Okay,
this
the last
until.
item on the agenda is for, is if there's any update on the website revision. And review, Jared, I think you were working on some more GIS information that you had taken a workshop on about incorporating streets into the new website.
Yes, we started, I had my first class, where we're deciding whether or not if I want to learn the online version or the desktop, because they are different, and as far as capabilities. But right now, I started, pumping out little, maps here and there, like I'm taking the tie cards that we have currently received. I'm making maps reflecting the neighborhoods, that way people can go on there, look up their street address and go, hey, is my house, in the area, and is it currently tied on? And then I've already talked to GHD about, in the phase 2 area, expanding beyond that and actually bringing all that information into at your fingertips, be able to pull up your tie card and look at all the different information. So it's should be more user friendly for everybody all the way around.
Yeah, to clarify, that's on the interactive website.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Good. Do you have a timeline for that?
So I'm starting to make some,
Yeah,
I like
I
to
know
call them the
it's too
dummy maps
early.
because I feel like I'm doing something that is at the lowest level, but I have already started producing some of those dummy maps that are like color coded, so I can at least get them on there for people to see. The hardest part is with the phase 2, I think I'm just gonna highlight every house in the road and let them know this is what we're looking at, and then once we start getting the final, where does that pipe end, I'll start dropping off those houses.
Yeah, you might, I was thinking that you might want to identify phase 2.
Yep.
Likely, and then indicate the area in question.
Yep.
Possibly. Because what is it, topography and a few other things that are gonna
Yes.
vary. Well, I was just gonna say that, excuse me, Meredith, but as to the website, I think there's a couple of elements that could be improved on the website, not necessarily anything that the sewer commission does, but that some things are related to, which means some interdepartmental fixes. But beyond that, I think there are 3 main categories of concern from residents. And of course, funding, access to funding is key. And I think we've addressed that pretty well at this point, although we can continue to update it. Then there's the where, which is the mapping component, and that I feel like is really can be frustrating for residents. I'm curious what kind of phone calls you're getting on that. And then the other thing is more or less when. So I'm just curious if you've had any outliers from those 3 categories.
The main question I get is whether or not there's going to be a betterment. That's usually the first question, and then I have found that most people don't even know what a betterment is. So
Yeah.
it just sounds scary, but it's,
Yeah.
to me, the better option. But I explain, I've done a lot of that explanation. The next question I get is, who do I call to tie in? I've explained to people that right now, don't call anybody, and that we're working on getting the contracts out for the low-pressure grinder systems. Once those are out, part of that's going to have training for the low-pressure company that's providing the service to give training on how to connect their systems. And at that night, I'm also going to take the same opportunity to go over our policies on, connections, some of the nuances. Once they're done, whoever's in that class will get you're now an installer, and then I'll put together a list for the customers that will go up on the webpage that says, okay, these people are authorized to install in the town. And that way it protects anybody from getting, Joe the plumber from yesterday, just got his license yesterday and has no clue what he's doing. So we're gonna do that. The next question I usually get is just predominantly over the whole process. I did have a long conversation with a actually retired fixed income woman. I think we talked for an hour and a half. It was a great conversation, but a lot of it was just, she just had a lot of stress because she did not know, how do I do this, how do I do this? So I asked her, I was like, you're telling me you've never put in a sewer before? Like, oh my God, you haven't? And she laughed at me, and I was like, well, here's what I want to do to help, and put together ideas like, when we send out the notice of connections, we're going to put on there all this information. Step 1, fill out a permit. Here's how you get it, or give it to them. Step 2, you're going to go for this person. This is when you're going to get your inspections. And just lay it all out with little check boxes so the person can hang it on the refrigerator and just go down the line. And so at the end, she goes, well, I'm not stressed anymore. I mean, other than now she was trying to figure out how to fund it. And, but she felt that part of the stress is going away. So that's the type of information we want to get out there to the customers.
Thank you.
I have a question. So you're describing basically a new licensed utility installer list, because now there's a new component, so we're telling people to just kind of sit back and wait until you have provided the training, the installers have had the training and get certified, so it's another box they have to check before they go on our official Mashpee list.
Yes, and there's reason behind it. Like some of the things that I'm requiring on the installs on the properties, I want tracer line above the pipe, just for future location. I'm new to gas piping in towns. I mean, where I came from, the vineyard, we didn't have gas piping, but I think it's important just to know where the utilities are. The other thing is, like at the joints on the property, we're finding the number one source of I&I into the collection system comes from that lateral to the house and the joints not being glued or the tree going through the side of the pipe. And so I want them to put basically a product like gator tape around every glued joint, so it's basically almost like double glued. Those are the things we're trying to put to the installers that we're going to be looking for in inspections to minimize the chance of I&I and stuff.
You mentioned policies for the installers. We're going to be able to publish those policies, okay, ahead
Yes.
of time? Okay.
Yes. Just about done with them. Fingers crossed, and some other crazy thing comes to my head. Yeah.
Thank you, Jared.
Yep.
Nothing else, Meredith, from website?
Okay. Thank you. Are there any other items that any of the commissioners would like to address in this meeting?
Just so we understand it, the next meeting will be on March 19th at 5, is that correct? That's Tuesday?
The next sewer commission meeting will be, yes, March 19th at 5 o'clock, but there will be a joint meeting between the sewer commission and the select board on March 6th, which is Wednesday, and that will be at 6:30.
Okay.
So the first meeting is March 6th, joint meeting at 6:30. The next meeting will be just the sewer commission, March 19th, and that will be at 5 o'clock.
And that will be the new, you'll be making a formal report at that time?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I was just saying GHD will be making a formal report at that time.
And I nodded yes.
Yes.
The meeting's gonna be in this room.
I believe so. Yes, because that's why we moved it to the 6th and not the 5th, because of the election, and we were trying to see if there was, yes, I believe it is here, yes.
I mean, the regular, not the, I don't hear a little joint meeting.
Oh, you mean our meeting? Yes, in this room. Yes.
May I suggest one thing, Meredith?
Yes.
That we solicit suggestions for possible outreach events prior to the town meeting regarding sewer commission. Let's just start thinking about where we want to do this and targeting what population. I think that might be helpful. So just requesting ideas. Okay?
I'm not quite sure what you're suggesting, Catherine. Could you clarify, please?
Yeah, I'm just soliciting ideas for potential outreach meetings that the Sewer Commission can participate in prior to the town meeting. That would be helpful for the warrants. If that-
Such as maybe at the library.
Yeah, yeah. Outreach tools
Well,
or
maybe,
meetings or
what
events.
about, there's usually a candidates' night in which they're taking
Yeah.
questions.
But what
Maybe
I'm-
we could be in the library to answer questions,
Yeah.
and people are already going to be there.
It's just that I think we should be able there to provide sewer project information specifically, not necessarily in support of
No.
one candidate or
Oh,
another.
no, I mean separate.
Yeah.
It's just that there's a body of people there that are interested.
Yes.
And so in another part of the library, we could be there with our materials,
Okay,
possibly.
yeah, okay. Well, it's possible. Good idea.
And I mean, there's always the option.
Considering the type of information sessions that were done, like at the flu clinic and
Yeah.
that were done at the library previously?
Yes, exactly. If, maybe some better maps by then would be helpful for those people that aren't that computer savvy.
Yeah, and then maybe we can put together like a little brochure or something like that, that we can at least leave at places like the library, maybe at the police station.
Right,
There it
out
is.
here.
Out here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll put that on the agenda for the next meeting and come up with some sort of a plan of what might be available in terms of space and time and the best venues.
Yeah, that's what I would like to request from anybody that can make those offerings, so.
Okay, because we could consider the library, the senior center, or if there are any other town events that are coming up that might be appropriate, but we can investigate that before the March 19th meeting and have that prepared for the March 19th meeting.
Right.
Okay. Are there any other burning issues on your mind for today?
I'm hearing none.
Then I would entertain a motion.
I move we adjourn.
I second that.
All
And
those
could
in,
we have a roll call vote to,
Phyllis, I move to adjourn.
and good vote, please.
Oh, I second.
and I move we adjourn as well. And I don't hear anybody saying no.
Okay. Thank you all for your time, and thank you for the discussion.
Thank you, Meredith.
Thank you.
And thank you again.